So this weekend is Easter, so of course I am going to tell you a Christmas story today. It's the middle of April and my kids still beg to listen to the Muppets Christmas album anytime we're driving anywhere, so I guess Christmas just is on my mind these days. Now, the reason that I wanted to chat Christmas a few days before the Big Bunny arrives is my Christmas story always seems to go the same way. I always do a great job following my keto plan through Thanksgiving and probably the first few weeks of December. Since I'm a stay-at-home mom, I don't have a ton of Christmas parties that are tempting me. So sticking with a keto plan for the first few weeks of December is always pretty easy. And then a few weeks before Christmas, our neighbors like to be all neighborly and deliver a big old plate of Christmas cookies. Not just one neighbor, more than one neighbors. And my kids are strange creatures that don't really like to eat sugary cookies that they're not used to. And my husband is also keto, so we just think that these cookies are gonna go to waste, or at least that's what I fool myself into believing. But the same thing happens every year. I say I'm not gonna eat them, and then by the time we leave for Chicago, there's only a few cookies left. And when we do leave for Chicago every Christmas, I don't even fool myself into thinking that I'm not going to eat all of the good, carby, delicious food like the Italian beefs and the pizza and basically all the junk that made me fat in the first place. When I lived there, it was really easy to avoid because I was around it all the time, so of course I could always get it. But now that I only go back there like one time a year, I know that I'm gonna want it, so I don't deprive myself. I just say, okay, I'm gonna take it easy. I'm not going to go too overboard, but I am going to indulge. And then, of course, there's that trip to Disneyland we seem to take every year. My husband likes to plan it for January when the crowds are low because standing in line with kids is not any fun. And while there are ways to stay on track with keto at Disney, it's a little more difficult when you have kids that are super picky, so you can only go so many places to eat. And then this year, it poured rain the entire 3 days we were there, so that made it even more difficult to find somewhere to eat that was keto, so kind of just ate what I had. But since I typically every year, I do add a little bit of holiday weight gain, it's easy to see where it comes from after the story I just told you, but I never stress out about it because I know I have February, March, most of April to take the weight back off and fit back into my summer clothes. I know all I need to do is get back to my keto plan, throw in a little bit of fasting, get back to my walking routine, and poof, holiday weight be gone. Except this year, didn't really go down that way. When I came back in mid-January, I didn't miss a beat. I got right back to my keto way of eating. I also jumped right back into my typical 16-8 fasting routine, which has just become normal for me. And after a few weeks of this routine, nothing was happening. Since I was so busy over the holidays, I kind of let my workouts slide and I stopped going to the gym for a while. So in February, I got right back to it and I decided to start Orange Theory Fitness. I started going there 3 days a week. So surely that's what I needed to do to get in shape for summer, right? I figured keto plus a 16-8 fasting schedule plus 3 workouts a week at Orange Theory Fitness, I was bound to shed the fat fast. So I started my workouts in February, and at the end of the month, I still didn't really have a big loss on the scale. So then I decided to step my fasting game back up again and add in at least 1 to 2 full 24-hour fasts each week like I'd done in the past. So, I mean, surely that would get the job done, right? So during March, I had the intense workouts, fasted daily for 16 hours, and 2 days where I was fasting 24 hours. I had walks during the week. I ate keto where I was under like 20 to 30 carbs every single day, so surely success would be mine. Except I wasn't. All throughout February and all throughout March, I stepped up my keto and my intermittent fasting game, and nothing really happened. Now, I know many of you watching have been at this point, and if you have been at this point in the past, or if you're at this point now, I definitely love to hear about it in the comments so we can commiserate together. And as frustrating as all this was, I knew exactly what it had to be done. But knowing what has to be done and doing what has to be done, we all know are two different things. So if you've been following along with me for a little while, then you know that I started an elimination diet back in August, where I pretty much eliminated almost everything that I come to love, including dark chocolate, eggs, all dairy, including butter, cauliflower, garlic, onions, any veggies that weren't cooked. The list just goes on and on. So I don't even really know how I survived that first month. And then as the months went on, I was able to add more foods back into my plan. So I added back my cauliflower and spinach, which I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be excited to eat cauliflower and spinach, but I was. I got to add back more foods that I loved, but I did keep out the chocolate and the dairy long term for at least 4 months. So during the first 5 weeks of that elimination diet that I tried, I actually lost 15 pounds. And that's a lot of weight since A, I wasn't even trying to lose weight, and B, I was already pretty close to my goal weight. So losing 15 pounds in 5 weeks, there was definitely something going on with the foods that I had to eliminate. So anyway, once Christmas hit, it was kind of a free-for-all, and I added back all the foods all at once, which isn't really how elimination diets work. But I felt deprived after 4 months without my chocolate fat bombs and 4 months without heavy cream or cheese or butter. So I kind of just added it all back in, and I gained that 10-ish or so pounds over the holidays that I thought would just come right off when I got back to my routine. I blamed my excess carbs for a few weeks and my trip at Disney, and none of that was the case for me. So I knew what I had to do to take the weight off. I knew what my keto roadblocks were. I just didn't want to do it. But basically the entire 2 months that I struggled, I knew that I had to remove the chocolate and the dairy. So since the beginning of April, I took them both out. The only thing I kept back in is butter because that doesn't really affect me. But since taking out the chocolate and dairy yet again, I'm down another 5 pounds on the scale after absolutely nothing happened for 2 weeks. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the moral of the story is if I want to lose weight or maintain better health, I just can't have chocolate and dairy in my diet. Now I know a lot of people think that they need to have dairy in their keto diet in order to find success, and I actually find a lot of people it's the opposite. So, and also while dairy is a keto roadblock for me, it may not necessarily be a keto roadblock for you, but if you do have it in your diet and you're having issues, that is definitely something that you'll want to take out. But like I said, this is my story and it might not be true for you. So dairy or chocolate could be problem foods for you. Maybe they're not. But if you are stuck on keto and you want to figure out what your roadblock is, we are holding a free workshop tomorrow to talk about all of the keto roadblocks that you may encounter. There are a lot of things that could be stalling you or not getting you the results that you want. So if you are watching this and you're currently stuck on keto, make sure you attend. Also, if you're new to a keto or low carb lifestyle, I definitely recommend attending so that way that these roadblocks we're going to tell you about don't get you tripped up in the first place. I'm on Facebook a lot and I see a lot of bad advice given, and I don't really like to argue with people. So hopefully you'll come and learn from someone who's been there, done that, and found the truth. All right, so I am going to put the link to the free workshop in this video in the comments section. So if you want to register, definitely check it out. If you're watching on Instagram, you can just click through my bio link. It's right there. It says free keto workshop. So I definitely hope that I will see you again tomorrow.